Before we jump in, if you enjoy detailed movie recaps like this one, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future uploads. And stick around to the end, because I'll also ask you to comment the movie you'd love to see recapped next. Released in 2022, Day Shift takes place in a version of Los Angeles that looks familiar on the surface, but hides a deadly secret underneath the sunshine. This is a city where vampires don't lurk in castles or dark forests anymore. They walk freely in daylight-adapted neighborhoods, hide behind money and influence, and blend seamlessly into modern life. In this world, the sun is no longer humanity's greatest weapon, and survival depends on how fast you can think, how hard you can fight, and how much you're willing to sacrifice for the people you love. At the center of the story is Bud Jablonski, a man who appears to be an ordinary pool cleaner working in the San Fernando Valley. Every morning, Bud loads his truck with cleaning tools, drives from house to house, and smiles politely at homeowners. He skims leaves, checks filters, and talks like a man just trying to earn an honest living. But the truth is far more dangerous. Bud's pool cleaning job is only a cover. Behind closed gates and quiet suburban backyards, Bud hunts vampires. Bud is a veteran vampire hunter, and his job is violent, messy, and unforgiving. There is no romance in this line of work. Vampires here are not elegant or mysterious. They are brutal, animalistic predators that move with terrifying speed and strength. Killing one requires skill, instinct, and absolute commitment. Bud has survived long enough to master the job, but it has cost him dearly. His body is covered in scars, his reputation is damaged, and his personal life is hanging by a thread. Bud's marriage to Jocelyn is on the verge of collapse. Years of instability, lies, and financial struggle have worn her down. Jocelyn doesn't hate Bud, but she no longer trusts him. Their daughter Paige is the center of their world, and Jocelyn wants to give her a stable future, one Bud can't currently provide. She plans to move to Florida, enroll Paige in a better school, and start fresh without Bud if necessary. For Bud, this isn't just about money, it's about losing his family. This looming deadline drives every decision Bud makes. He isn't hunting vampires for thrill or pride, he's hunting them because time is running out. Every fang he collects brings him closer to keeping his daughter in his life. In this world, vampire fangs are currency. The older and stronger the vampire, the more valuable the teeth. Bud knows how to hunt efficiently, but efficiency alone won't save him without support. That support normally comes from the International Union of Vampire Hunters. The union controls everything: rules, territories, payouts, and protection. Union hunters earn more money and have backup when hunts go wrong. Bud used to be one of them, but Bud doesn't work well under rules. Years earlier, his reckless methods and refusal to follow protocol got him kicked out. At the time, Bud believed independence made him stronger. Now it's ruining his life. Without union protection, Bud earns less per kill and has no safety net. Every hunt is a risk, and one bad move could leave his daughter without a father. Swallowing his pride, Bud goes back to the union and asks for temporary instatement. The union agrees, but with conditions. Bud will be monitored at all times by a union representative. That representative is Seth. Seth is the complete opposite of Bud. He's a desk worker, a compliance officer who lives by paperwork, rules, and safety guidelines. Seth has never been on a real hunt, and the idea of facing vampires terrifies him. He believes rules exist to keep people alive. Bud believes rules slow you down and get you killed. From their first interaction, the tension is obvious. Seth talks constantly, filling the silence with nervous explanations. Bud barely responds. Seth wants to follow protocol step by step. Bud relies on instinct. The union pairs them together not because it's effective, but because they don't trust Bud. Their first hunt together is a nightmare for Seth. Bud storms into a vampire nest with ruthless efficiency, moving like someone who has done this hundreds of times. Vampires attack violently, screaming and thrashing like wild animals. Bones snap, blood splatters across walls. Seth is frozen in fear, watching Bud dismantle monsters with frightening calm. This moment defines their dynamic. Bud is numb to violence. Seth is experiencing the horrifying reality behind union paperwork for the first time. The film balances these brutal scenes with dark humor, using Seth's panic and Bud's casual attitude to lighten the tension without undermining the danger. As Bud continues hunting, he notices something deeply unsettling. Vampires are acting differently. They're organized, coordinated. They're moving in groups and showing confidence during daylight hours. This shouldn't be possible. Vampires are supposed to fear the sun, but these ones don't. A name keeps appearing: Audrey San Fernando. Audrey San Fernando is a wealthy real estate mogul who owns massive portions of Los Angeles, especially in lower-income neighborhoods. She presents herself as a powerful businesswoman reshaping the city. But Audrey is no human. She's an ancient vampire, older, smarter, and far more dangerous than most. Audrey doesn't want to coexist with humans. She wants control. Her plan is to create an underground vampire army, breeding creatures that can operate in daylight. If she succeeds, humanity will lose its final advantage.
the city will belong to vampires. What makes Audrey especially terrifying is how she mirrors real-world systems of exploitation. She doesn't hide in shadows. She uses money, property, and influence to feed and expand her power. Vampirism becomes a metaphor for unchecked greed, turning Los Angeles into a feeding ground disguised as progress. As the danger grows, Seth begins to change. Fear no longer paralyzes him. Exposure to real combat forces him to adapt. He starts training, asking questions, and learning how to survive. His growth is gradual and believable. He doesn't suddenly become a hero. He becomes someone willing to stand his ground. When things spiral beyond Bud and Seth's control, Bud reaches out to an old friend, Big John Elliott. Big John is a legendary vampire hunter who operates outside the Union. He's calm, wise, and deadly. Where Bud is driven by desperation, Big John is guided by acceptance. He understands the cost of this life and has already paid it. His philosophy is simple: protect people, not systems. Big John's presence adds emotional depth to the story. He represents experience without bitterness, strength without chaos. Through him, we see what Bud could become if he survives long enough. But everything collapses when betrayal is revealed. The Union itself has been compromised. A trusted figure is secretly working with Audrey, selling out humanity for power. This twist changes the entire narrative. The organization meant to protect hunters is part of the problem. Big John is captured. Hunters are slaughtered. The Union fractures under the weight of corruption. Bud is left nearly alone. Despite everything, Bud's motivation never changes. Paige. Every quiet scene with his daughter reminds us what's truly at stake. Bud is flawed. He's reckless and emotionally distant. But his love for Paige is absolute, and that love fuels him when everything else fails. The final act explodes into chaos as Bud, Seth, and the remaining allies storm Audrey's stronghold. Vampires swarm in overwhelming numbers. The action is fast, brutal, and relentless. Every movement feels like survival rather than spectacle. Seth proves himself during this battle. He's still afraid, but he doesn't run. His courage feels earned, not exaggerated. He becomes brave, not fearless. Bud's final confrontation with Audrey is savage. She is powerful, confident, and convinced she's already won. She represents control, domination, and exploitation. Bud represents resistance, family, and humanity. Audrey nearly kills him, but Bud refuses to quit. Fueled by love for his daughter and rage against everything Audrey represents, he pushes past his limits. It's not strength that wins, it's persistence. When the dust settles, Audrey is defeated. Her operation collapses. The immediate threat is over. Bud earns enough money to stabilize his life, but more importantly, he earns trust. Jocelyn sees real change in him. Seth emerges stronger. The Union is forced to confront its corruption. Day Shift doesn't end with grand speeches. It ends quietly. The world is still dangerous. Vampires still exist. But for now, one family is safe. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment the movie you'd love to see recap next. Your support helps the channel grow, and your comments decide what story we tell next.